Blessings BookTube. Welcome to another Tag Tuesday. We're doing the New York State of Mind, New York City tag. It was created by Jim at Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff. Oh, back in the day, I think. And I was tagged by the Uncommon Reader, who recently did it. It was kind enough to tag me, and I'm happy to relive my literary memories of New York. So we've got 11 prompts here. The first is a favorite book that is set in or around New York. So for a novel, I think I'll pick, with apologies to Washington Square and the classics, right? Also Invisible Man, and I think a couple other good ones are set in New York. I'm going to go with Tis by Frank McCourt, who did the memoir Angela's Ashes. He did this other one, Tis. It's mostly in New York. He's an Irish immigrant. Very, very funny. Hilarious. And that will be my novel choice. For a poet, gosh, there are so many, but I guess I would go with Lorca's Poet in New York. And I actually have a graphic novel option for this. So this will be City of Glass from Auster's New York trilogy. They did a graphic novel of City of Glass. Is the absolute best literary graphic novel interpretation I've ever seen. It works so interestingly as text, as imagery, as independent of each other, working together. It's just really interesting the way those go together. It's more than the sum of its parts, I would say, and I've just rarely seen that in graphic novels. So I think it's the pinnacle, the sort of goal for the form. So hopefully I see more like that. And I haven't read many, but I definitely can recommend that one. So there's a few books set in and around New York City. And I'll go upstate New York in a little while too. Now the second is, what's the tallest building I've ever been in? And I don't know. I've been up, tall buildings in a number of countries. I'm gonna stick to New York with it. I've not been up, or I did not go up the Twin Towers, nor have I been up the new one they built, but I've definitely been up. Can't remember if we went up the Empire State Building. I feel like we did, but I don't have a memory of it. But I definitely remember going up Statue of Liberty. And my favorite story about the Statue of Liberty is my mom's. When she first arrived in Britain, they took her on this sightseeing tour. She was a 15-year-old girl, little Brit girl, and they took her to the Bowery and Chinatown with ducks hanging, and then on the rocking boat out to Liberty Island. So my mom, on her first day in the United States, puked on the Statue of Liberty. Oh, heavens. All right. Okay, the third is New York, New York. So this one is asking about a reread. So the city, so good it named itself twice, the Big Apple. What have I reread about that I can relate to that? Well, I was thinking that, I sometimes reread books that I read as a child. So I've recently been enjoying some adaptations of Wind in the Willows, which I read as a kid. And I was remembering that there's that wonderful one that's set in the Met Museum, where the kids spend the night in the museum. It's called The Mixed Up Files of Mrs. I had to look it up. Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler. The Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler. It's a great kids book about getting stuck overnight in the Met Museum. And we'll talk about art in a minute here, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the Met. Or is it MoMA? Actually, I think it's MoMA. Okay, the fourth is something to do with American Psycho, which I've not read, I have no interest in reading. It's to talk about a disturbing work. The most disturbing work that I've read that I can relate to, I think I've read Motherless Brooklyn. I was trying to find one relating to the Bronx, because that's my real, even though my dad lives in Staten Island, I went to PS 96 in the Bronx, so that's my real borough, but I couldn't think of a good Bronx book. But anyway, so I went upstate with this to Albany. There's a trilogy of books um, written by William Kennedy up there in Albany. And the one I read was Ironweed. It's about the homeless there and just being drunk and peeing on yourself for warmth in the snow and being so cold that you don't feel it when the dogs are chewing your toes. Very disturbing, but very well written. Could definitely recommend William Kennedy's novels. Okay, 5 is where I was when I heard the news of 9/11. Yes, okay, I was in a training because everybody's phone started going crazy, and I had my phone turned off like a good little boy. I was in a training to be a substitute teacher in Austin, Texas, with the AISD school district, because I was working as an AmeriCorps in a shelter for immigrants there called Casa Marianella, and I couldn't quite make ends meet on we had a free housing and free food, but I had like a car and some other expenses. So I was going to do a little bit of substitute teaching. In fact, I did a retire rehire. So I subbed for a whole full month with an ESL class. With the ESL's teacher was out for a month and coming back from, her fake retirement. And had I had one more day, my pay was going to be, like almost doubled or something ridiculous because I would be considered a long-term sub. But she had to come back within 29 days, and I had to have worked in the same job 30 days, and no one would the principal tried to help, but no one would be reasonable and compromise, and so I didn't get the extra pay. And anyway, it's not fun being a substitute teacher. That's all I'll say about it. Okay, so that's where I was when I heard the news. Now, literature-wise, I have read Don DeLillo's Falling Man. I did not like it. I did not like it at all. Sorry, I don't know really what more to say about it. Then I don't think it worked as its own thing. I don't think it worked as a 9/11 thing. My feelings are complicated about that whole scene. So, but yeah, I did find it interesting that they didn't cancel the training we were in. The world might be falling apart, but by God, HR has got to finish their trainings. So there you go. Okay, 6 is favorite movie set in New York. Well, any Woody Allen. Now I'm going to pick Annie Hall since Manhattan is probably canceled. So Woody Allen, you may not know, has wonderful collections of short fiction he publishes humor pieces regularly in the New Yorker. And so he's got 3 old ones and 2 new ones. And I've read the 3 old ones and 1 of the new ones. And they're all great, Without Feathers. But I'm going to recommend the first one called Getting Even. So read, you will really enjoy Woody Allen's humor. It is hilarious. He makes fun of, everything. He dissects laundry lists like a literary critic. It's good fun. So for movies, definitely. I mean, with apologies to all the great movie makers who've made great New York movies, I just love Woody Allen's work. Okay, 7th, my last visit to New York. Okay, so here normally I would, when I arrive in New York City at the airport there, I would stay, a day or two in my father's intentional community. That he lives in intentional community in Staten Island. They have 4 or 5 houses there, commune, I guess you could call it. One of the most successful ones. It's called Ganas. And by the way, they run a bookstore called Everything Goes down on Bay Street near the ferry. And check out that bookstore. It's amazing. They have, events, great books, used and new, and it's great space. But he wasn't in the last time he was traveling, so I went straight upstate to my brother's. So my brother lives where Route 22 meets Route 23, in the Catskills meet the Berkshire Mountains, right near the Massachusetts border. Beautiful area. He lives on a lake, and we went to a open air concert by the Rip Van Winkle Bridge. And you can see, you probably remember Sleepy Hollow, right, by Irving, Washington Irving. So he also wrote the Rip Van Winkle legend, and you can see the Rip Van Winkle sleeping there, his sleeping form in the mountains. And actually, when we were kids, my mother took us to Washington Irving's house. I don't know if it's near there or where it was, but I remember going there. She also took us to Poe's house. Poe had a house in the Bronx. I remember going there with her. She took me to Melville's house in Great Barrington area, over the Mass border there. So some great authors' houses around that area as well. Anything else literary to say about that? No, that's probably about it. Okay, so 8 is my favorite New York painter. So you're looking at the Hudson Valley School painters. We're talking about people like Cole, Church, Bierstadt, Julie Hart Beers. They're amazing, obviously, landscape poets, painters. I do love the, one of my first art memories was at MoMA, I want to say at the entrance. They have the Calder Circus, where Calder took his recycled, bits of garbage and made a whole circus of characters out of them with moving parts and everything. And it's just, I fell in love with art through that. So, and then, all the great museums in New York under the Whale and everything. All right, so that's art. Next is song. Favorite song from New York? So many. With apologies to the male crooners, you've got Old Blue Eyes, Billy Joel. You've got the Duke, right? A Train, Coltrane's got a good New York one. But I'm going to go with the Miladies. Ella Fitzgerald, Lullaby Broadway. Just nudging out a more somber toned Billie Holiday tune called Autumn in New York. With a one little extra that I'm allowing myself because it's not actually my choice. It's my French brother's choice. So when we were in high school, we hosted a French boy. And then I went and stayed with his family in Paris, one of those nice exchanges that they do. And he loved Sting, and he loved The Englishman in New York. So I had to make a mention of that song as well because he sang it when we took him all around New York, Central Park, and Rockefeller Center and all that good stuff. All right, what else have we got going on here? 11 is favorites. Broadway musical. Yes. Okay. So, Man of La Mancha is my favorite musical, but for Broadway musical, I'm going to pick Les Mis because I saw it on Broadway. Not only did I see it on Broadway, there was a mix-up with our tickets, and to apologize to us, they gave us 4th row tickets. We had bought like the half-price same-day tickets, so ended up in the 4th row. We could see the singers spit, and so I saw Les Mis. I think it was one of the first shows I'd seen on Broadway. I haven't seen that many. And Les Mis is amazing if you could see it anywhere, but on Broadway it was just an amazing memory. It was my birthday. It was one of my best birthdays. Okay, so let's see, what else do we got here? I feel like I missed one, the favorite publisher. Where did I miss that? Favorite painter, favorite publisher. Oh, yes, I did. I skipped. Sorry. Number 10. So that was number 11 is the favorite Broadway show. Number 10 is New York is the publishing capital. What is your favorite publisher? So I'm going to go with Beadle and Adams. They were the original dime novel publishers. And Hachette's Livre de Poche, which just means paperback, are my two favorite. When I see the stacks behind people and they're all, instead of the the black spines of the, Viking classics or whatever, I see all the white spines of the Livre de Poche. I know I'm looking at a fellow Francophile, and he's got a lot of French titles in his, he or she, in their stacks. Right, so that's 11 real questions, and then 12th is just tag. So I will tag some people for this that I think might have a New York experience to share with us. I want to give a big thanks again to the Uncommon Reader, for tagging me, and thanks to Jim for creating this. If you like this, let me know, because there's some other ones like Paris. I don't know if there's a Bangkok one, but I should create one. So I might do a few other cities, because I think I've only got one other undone tag. I haven't been getting tagged by a lot of people lately, so if you want to tag me, I'm available to be tagged. So thank you again, and please like, subscribe, dance a jig, um, create a cookie, and leave a comment and share this with your friends.